everybody, it's Micah back here again with another application tutorial for DesignSkinz. Today we're going to be applying one of our skins to the 20-oz YETI Tumbler. And so the first things that we're going to need before we start off, of course, is your YETI Tumbler, one of our brilliant skins, and of course, as always, you're going to need either a heat gun or a hair dryer if you don't have access to a heat gun. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to start off with is the front of the tumbler. And we're going to start off with the side that has the YETI logo on it. So the side that has that is the left side on our skin page. So just start off, peel that corner back, and just slowly pull it off. Now whenever you get to the center of this piece, you're going to see these little pieces that start to hopefully kind of fold out. Now that's the YETI logo itself. As these letters come out, just be sure that you're holding them down. Great. Now we've got our skin off. If you pulled it off and you didn't get the letters to come off, that's fine. You can go ahead and take them off now. Although do be very careful as you're doing that not to stretch any of these finer lines here along the logo. Now with this application you are going to need to have a little bit of patience, just because it does take a while to get it correct without having any wrinkles. And I'm going to go ahead and set this down for a moment and take off the cap of the 20-oz YETI tumbler. Alright, so as you're setting it, or as you're taking your skin, try to grab it between your middle finger and your forefinger and hold the top up so that you can grab the YETI cup as you're holding your skin. Like I said, this is a little bit tricky. Another good way to do it is just to hold it between your forefinger and your thumbs, and then use your other fingers to grab the cup and bring it up. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is line up your YETI logo. With these cups, I like to line up the E and the T first, since they're in the middle of the logo, and they do have a lot of different angles and edges that you can see where the skin is and how it should be aligned, so that if it's a little bit too far up, you'll see that. If it's a little bit too far to the left or the right, you'll be able to see that as well. Now as you do this, go ahead and try to wrap around the bottom of the skin. Don't press it down too hard to actually apply it, but just kind of wrap it around to see how it's going on. Now as you can see, this one's a little bit crooked, so we're going to need to adjust that. So to take it off, just grab one of the corners and just yank it off real fast like a band-aid. If you do try to take it off slowly or try to peel it off real slow, it will stretch the skin and then it won't fit the way that it should. If you don't get it on your first try, that's fine. Just keep taking it off and reapplying it until you do get it on correctly. Okay, great. So this one looks like it's lining up correctly along the bottom with this seam between the two pieces. Now this is where the tricky part is. What you're going to need to do is slowly push on the skin from the middle so that it applies to the middle portion of the cup first, and then as it goes along, you'll see it kind of curves along the cup. Just go through, take your thumb, and push out the air bubbles as it goes up the mug. And again, just have a lot of patience with this one. It will take a little bit to get it on without any air bubbles, but believe me, once you get it on there, it is worth the effort. Alright, now as you're coming up to the corners, this is where you're going to need to be very, very mindful of any air bubbles, since as it comes up, it does like to wrinkle a little bit just because of the shape of the Yeti cup itself. So just be sure to press all of those out now. It'll save you a little bit of trouble later on. Now, as you do come up and do these edges and corners, roll your thumb along the skin. That'll help push the air out instead of trapping it under and making these tiny little air bubbles all across your skin. Alright, great. So we've got the first portion applied. What we're going to do is just go ahead, run your heat gun along all of the edges, so along this side, the top, this side, and the bottom, just to make sure that if there are any residual air bubbles along the side of the skin, along this edge, you will be able to push those out, and it will be able to wrap around this little curve, this tiny little curve that goes around the bottom and the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the middle and work our way to the sides to push all of that air in one direction across the cup, as opposed to, or I guess rather to push the air away from the middle of the skin and push it all out to the sides so it'll get out. Okay, great. Now we've got this nice even line across the top. We're just going to do the same thing with the sides and the bottom. Perfect. Now we've got the front applied. Now we just have to go around, do the same thing for the back. Now the back is going to be a little bit different from the front because you won't have that Yeti logo to line anything up with. So what you're going to want to do is take your skin and your cup in this hand and apply it to this corner right here where the seam should be and where the skins should meet each other. Alright, now that we have this corner on, what you're going to need to do is take your skin and just slowly turn your cup so that it'll apply along the bottom, just to make sure that you have it on there straight. You're going to watch this seam between these two pieces and make sure that the edge of your skin lines up with that seam evenly across. Again, this might take a little bit of time and a couple of tries. If you don't get it on the first try, don't be discouraged. Don't try to rush it. Just take it off real quick and try again. Okay, great. Now as we get around to this other side, just be sure that these two pieces do line up with each other and have the same amount of space between them and the bottom portion of your Yeti cup. Now that we've got those on the bottom, we can go ahead and apply it the same way that we did to the front, just pushing this piece down and pushing out the air bubbles along the side. One thing to be mindful of as you're pushing this down is how much space is between your two skins. You want to be sure that as it's going up the cup, that there is an even spacing all the way down. So if you're going down and you see that it's hanging over the side or it's starting to veer away, then it's not straight on there and you're going to need to reapply it. Again, just like with the front, as you come up to these corners, just be mindful that this is where a lot of the wrinkles happen, and just roll your thumb to push all of the air out instead of trying to push it down and end up trapping all of that air under there. Okay, great. Now that this is on, just go ahead, do the same thing as you did on the other side. Again, just heat up the edges to make them fit right to the skin. If you see any air bubbles, just try to either push those out or heat it up, try to push it out that way as well. Again, we're going to start from the middle and work our way around the sides. Alright, hard part's over. We've got the top portion of the Yeti skinned on both the front and the back. Now all we have to do is apply the bottom. A thing to keep in mind is the shape of the Yeti. As you can see, it's wider on the top and narrow on the bottom. So the way that we account for that is having it curved. So you want to make sure that whenever you take off your bottom piece, that you do have it oriented the right way whenever you put it on. So as you can see, it's pointed downwards. The curve is going down. So whenever you take it off, just make sure that it's also curving down as you hold it up to your Yeti. So as you see, it's pointed down. Whenever we take our Yeti, it should still be pointed down. What you're going to do is line it up with this seam that's been created here or here. Line it up here. And just make sure that that seam continues to go straight with the bottom. Alright, now that we've got that corner down, what we're going to do is just roll our cup in our hand. And as we're doing that, just lay down your skin. And as you do this as well, just bear in mind that the seam between the top portion and the bottom portion, so as you turn it and put it on, the skin, the edge of the skin should line up with that seam. And there should be an even space all the way around between the two portions of the skin. Whenever you get around to this side, just make sure that it lines up with the other side. So whenever you bring this side around, make sure that it's still lined up with that seam. And now since this one is a little bit longer, we're going to start, the middle is here. So whenever we apply the heat to push it on to this curve, we're going to start with the middle, which is here. It's going to be the opposite seam. We're just going to do the same exact theme that we did with the top piece, the edges of the top piece. Just heat it up from the middle, work it along the sides, rolling your thumb to make sure that you have an even adhesion, to make sure that you don't have any air bubbles in there. Alright, now we're just going to check and make sure that we didn't miss any air bubbles or anything like that. Alright, looks good. There we have it, a fully skinned 20-ounce Yeti tumbler. Just go ahead, put your cap back on, and you're ready to go. Alright guys, there you have it, the fully skinned 20-ounce Yeti tumbler. If you have any questions about this skin or us as a company, just leave those questions, comments down below. If you want to see any other tutorials for some of our other products, just check out our channel page, and there should be videos uploaded there of how to apply some of our other skins. Have a great day.